my name is Aaliyah. Thank you for clicking on my video. I'm going to talk about 10 of my favorite books of 2023. This is very belated due to many things coming up in the last few months, but I had books that I really liked in 2023 that I wanted to talk about. This is the first time I've written a script for a video, so that added a little bit of prep time. Then my computer died that I edit on, so I'm recording on my phone right now. Also, I'm recording in my room with my guinea pigs, so you might see or hear them a little bit. With writing the script, I hope that my descriptions of the books will be a little more concise this video as compared to some of my other videos. First is Fina, which is a science fiction novella by Nino Capri. It's set in an IKEA type store and centers around two employees going into alternate dimension versions of the store. This book definitely has some criticism of minimum wage service jobs where workers aren't treated like people. The focus is on two co-workers. They recently broke up and have been trying to avoid each other, but now must work a shift together and survive in alternate universes. There's a lot of heartfelt emotion along with the adventure. I really want to read the sequel novella, which is called Defect. Next is Die, spelled D-I-E. It's a graphic novel. It's a graphic novel series written by Kieran Gillen, and the art's done by Stephanie Hans. The series centers on a group of friends in the 90s. They play a fantasy role-play game that magically transports them into another world called Die. They get trapped in this world as their characters and have to fight their way out. This all happens at the very beginning of the story while they're still teenagers. The main part of the story is about them returning to the world of Die as adults in their 40s and all the various struggles they each have and how they have to overcome the world of Die itself. There is a lot they don't understand about the world that is revealed throughout the story. I think this would be really interesting and enjoyable for people that do role-playing games. So much of the story and how the characters function is inspired by role-playing games. I personally don't play these games, but I enjoy watching other people play, and I like the idea of them. So I still really liked that aspect of this book. The art is also really beautiful, so look at the pictures online, even if you don't want to read this graphic novel. Next, I will briefly talk about Frizzy by Claribel Ortega. It is a middle grade graphic novel. It's about a middle school girl that is Afro-Latina and focuses on her struggle with her hair. And her mother and family's focus on curly textured hair being straight and flat. This graphic novel discusses anti-Blackness within Latin American culture. I'm not going to get too in-depth on this book in this video because I want to do a full video on this graphic novel. I really liked this the first time I read it, and then I reread it and a second time, and I still really loved it. The way the characters written and how the subjects are handled and discussed within the book are really great. The Superior Foes of Spider-Man is the next series I'm going to talk about. It's a comic series from Marvel that came out in 2014. It's written by Nick Spencer and drawn by Steve Lieber. I read the series when it originally came out, but I didn't remember too much of what happened. So a few months ago, I reread it. It's a really fun series. It focuses on some small-time villains in the Spider-Man universe. They aren't that well known, and this is about what they are doing and the trouble they're getting into. The story very much has a comical style to it. I would call it much more of a comedy series than serious. There's several heists and some bigger villains do make appearances. There are 3 volumes. I really liked all the characters and how it all tied up by the 3rd volume. You have to be okay reading about characters that just aren't good people. Most of them aren't really redeemable. They're not anti-heroes. They're just not good people, but like they're funny because they're very small time and not always terribly good at committing crimes. So this series I really enjoy and recommend if you want something fun within the Marvel universe, but also isn't too tied into everything else. You don't have to have read everything else within the Marvel lineup. Karma Moon Ghost Hunter is a middle grade book written by Melissa Savage. I talked about this book in a previous video that I will link, but since I don't think many people watched it, I'll talk about the book again here. I would say it's got paranormal aspects to it, but I would probably call it more of a mystery. The main plot of this book is investigating a mystery at an old hotel. Karma Moon, the main character, lives with her dad who makes movies. He gets a call to film a ghost hunting documentary at an old hotel for a streaming service. Karma and her friend go with her dad and his co-workers to shoot the series. A lot of weird things happen during their stay at the hotel, and Karma starts to discover some mysteries about the hotel. Another big part of the book is Karma dealing with anxiety and also dealing with her feelings about her mom abandoning her and her dad. I don't remember how long ago it was within the book, but there's a lot throughout with her coming to understand her feelings. I liked the way her character was written. It was fairly realistic for her age and the situations. My next is also a series. It is a manga called Spy Family. I have currently read all of Spy Family, which is written as Spy X Family. That is out in English. I read the whole series in 2023, starting with volume 1. I'm usually not good at sticking with series, so this is an accomplishment for me, but also shows I was interested in it. Spy Family is a manga written by Tatsuya Endo. It is current issues and volumes are still being published and written in Japanese. The main plot is that a spy named Twilight has to fake having a family for his current mission. The woman he finds to enter into a fake marriage with is secretly an assassin. They do not know each other's identities. Twilight also adopts a child from an orphanage that just happens to be psychic. She hides this from her adoptive parents. So all 3 are hiding aspects of themselves from each other while trying to be the perfect family to outsiders. The setting seems to be an imaginary Eastern European country that has an East and a West, and the East and West are at war. The war is important to the ongoing story and the reason Twilight has his current mission. The vibe is mostly pretty light and fun throughout the series. My next book is called Game of Cones. I read Game of Cones by Abby Collette in 2023. It's the second book in this series. And then I read the first Deadly Inside Scoop in 2022. Since it's the second book, I'm not going to say much about it specifically. I will talk a little about the first book and the series as a whole. I talked about the first book in the same video I talked about Karma Moon in. This is a cozy mystery series focusing on a woman named Bronwyn. She goes by Wyn. She moved back to her hometown to take over her family's ice cream shop. In both books, there are murders at the beginning that seem to involve people she cares about, so Wyn gets involved in solving the crimes. I listened to both books on audiobook, and the audiobooks are really good. One narrator, but engaging and kept my attention. I plan to listen to the third book in the series as well. My favorite character is Wyn's neighbor's cat that visits the ice cream shop. I think her name is Felicia. She is written with such realistic cat attitude. I liked the human characters too, but usually animals will be my favorites. If you like cozy mysteries or just mysteries, try this series. I think it was one of the better or the best cozy mystery series that I've read. Summer Frost is an Amazon original story by Blake Crouch. It's a short story in a series collection, each story written by different authors, and they're all Amazon exclusive. I think you have to be a Prime member. This was my favorite of the ones that I've read in the collection. Blake Crouch is an author I know I like. I loved Recursion and Dark Matter, and I'm currently reading Upgrade. This might be my favorite thing I read in the year. I can't say too much or I'll spoil it as far as the plot goes, but it's about an AI and the game programmer that works with the AI and how the AI develops, it changes. The developer grows attached to the AI over years of working on it, and the AI develops beyond what the company had expected. There is a reveal towards the end I was not expecting. I liked how it ended because given the circumstances, that seemed the only real end. I don't need neat or happy endings, so I liked this. Some people don't seem to enjoy Blake Crouch's books because of all the science talk, but that's actually why I love them. If you're okay with a lot of science in your sci-fi, then try this or some of his other books. The next one I'm talking about is called Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. I believe it's a debut. The author is Benjamin Stevenson. I read it for a book club and hadn't heard of it before, so I probably wouldn't have read it, but I'm really glad I did. This is actually the start of a series, and I'm currently reading the sequel. It's a mystery slash thriller set in Australia on a family vacation, kind of a reunion. The narrator is writing a book about the experience that you are currently learning about. Time jumps from the past to the current time as you learn more and more about this family, and also what might be happening to everyone and the victims. I wanted to continue reading it and getting more pieces of the puzzle. The structure of the story is very interesting and unique, but it works. I highly suggest for anyone that likes mysteries to check this out. The sequel is equally as good so far. Last is We Don't Swim Here, which is the second book by Vincent Tirado that I've read. I read their debut, Burn Down, Rise Up, in 2022 and really liked it. Both books are YA horror with historical aspects. This one focused on a small southern town that has some very specific rules everyone has to adhere to. There are a lot of stories about the history of the town that control people's actions in modern times. The biggest rule is that no one swims in the whole town. The book is told in alternating points of views from a new girl that moves to town with her family and her cousin, a lifelong resident trying to hide the peculiarities and dangers of the town. I preferred Burn Down, Rise Up, but so really liked We Don't Swim Here. Both books have a sense of heaviness about the locations, the real-world dark parts of our country's history that tie into these books are well done. In my opinion, horror based in reality is the scariest type of horror. Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked it, please click the like button or subscribe to this channel. I also have an Instagram I'll try to remember to put in the description. Bye.